So if you're watching and you're a teacher or you're an administrator, I'm sure at some point in your career, even if you're new to this career, at some point you came across somebody who wanted to quit teaching. And so that's the topic of today's conversation. I'm going to continue my conversation with Miss Tess Timmons here in a second. But right now, I'm going to take a quick word for our sponsor.
This video is powered by Dubby, the clean energy drink made for focus, stamina, and zero crashes. Whether you're gaming, working, or creating, Dubby helps you stay sharp without the slump. Grab your tub, mix it up, and feel the difference. Use the promo code JVTorres at checkout for 10% off at dubby.gg. That's DUBBY.gg. Stay energized, stay focused, stay in the game with Dubby.
So there was this teacher that I worked with years ago, and this person and I had developed a very, very close work relationship. She was just a fantastic teacher. I admired her, and we had a lot of small talk throughout our time working together. But the day came when she was very, very upset, and I try to cheer her up because I'm just that kind of a jovial kind of guy. But nothing I said cheered her up, and then I finally just said, "Okay, what's going on, man? talk to me. Is there something you want to talk about?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm done with everything." I'm like, and I panicked. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's suicidal." She's like, "No, I'm just done with teaching. I just can't do it anymore." I'm like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, you're a great teacher, man. Kids love you. Like, you're just so fantastic." It was a sad thing for me to watch because it was kind of like watching a train crash in slow motion because she had already checked out and we still had 3 months left of school. And you could tell that she just wasn't into it. She just wasn't into it. And she was just waiting her time to leave. And I thought that part of it kind of ticked me off because I was still, obviously, I'm not going anywhere. I'm thinking to myself, I'm still invested in this 100%. And this person is just on co-pilot until the end of the school year, which I thought the kids got cheated out a little bit there, a quarter of the year. And so I just sat and pondered what really happened. I don't even know all the details. She didn't tell me every single detail, and there was a lot left out. But I know we've come across teachers who've quit or given you reason to quit, or maybe you were that teacher. That's what we're going to talk about right now. Please, everyone, welcome Miss Tess Timmons back to the program. Tess, welcome back to our second segment. We are talking about why teachers leave, and I'm sure you've heard me tell that story. It's a true story. I was very upset that this teacher left because I had become close to her, and the reasons were still kind of strange to me, or just a lot of it. She just, so no matter how close I felt I was to her over the years, whatever happened, she kept a lot of that to herself. It ate her up alive, and she quit.
How many years in was she, and do you know what profession she went to after?
I don't know where she went to after. We're still in contact, but I haven't really seen her so much on social media. Almost like she's checked out. Her social media presence is almost non-existent. But wow. She wasn't teaching for a good 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Why do teachers leave? Why do teachers leave? I'm still it's a big question mark. I still don't know why she left.
Oh, I think about leaving all the time. Every year I do. Every year I have a big conversation with myself about
but you don't
stay. Are you going to not stay?
But you don't leave. You haven't left. You're still in the system. You're still working. And while I'm talking about the people that left, they did it. They just quit.
Yeah. Okay. So two teachers that I met, they had been teaching in China for several years, and then they came back to America, and they, within the first 2 months, they were crying a lot. They were shocked by behavior of students. They were having a really hard time getting the students to learn and listen, and they ended up leaving the profession. They were out. And then when I was leaving that school, another gal from China was coming in. So I talked to admin and our team about the fact that, like, hey, I know I'm leaving, I'm switching to a different district, but watch that teacher. I was like, we've got another one coming from China, and like at China and Japan, Asia, like the students are really behaved and they listen, and there's a well-oiled machine of respect over there. Yes, that teacher also left. So I saw that pattern as far as like respect with teachers who are coming back from other countries. I've seen teachers leave. One gentleman, I had mentioned him in another episode, he left because he was wanting to be like head of household. So he left for real estate, but ended up coming back to it. He said it was really hard to find another job where he'd have so much time off so he could spend it doing other things. I know that
teach 180 days, Tess, only 180 days.
He also is a brilliant teacher. Like, oh my gosh, he was doing like drama classes, and all of his ESL students, they did plays in different languages. So he had one gal speaking in Russian, one gal speaking in Japanese. It was brilliant to see how many kids we didn't even know they all spoke all of these different languages. Like he had a lot of care in his heart. I've seen a lot of teachers jump to different grades because they're feeling, that angst and need of change. But yeah, what do you think it is? Why they leave?
Well, there's unseen pressures. I think a lot of times teachers want to hide what they're really feeling. And until it just like, the pressure builds so much that the cap pops out of the bottle and all of the champagne comes flying out. Only it's not champagne, it's tears. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where, when it gets to that, I mean, if it happens a couple of times, but like you said, if it's a consistent badgering, consistent disrespect, and I think that's probably at the heart of a lot of this stuff. It's disrespect. It's the inability to manage the classroom, and the kids are cruel and they say terrible things and they insult you, and you don't know what the right way to respond to it is, or you have an admin team that isn't very supportive, or they don't support you well enough, and the kids, they're just some kids that are real terrors, man. They just are. And if you're not battle tested as a teacher, they're gonna get to you, especially if you're like a new teacher.
Yeah, I had a couple student teachers when I was their mentor teachers. There's always that kind of moment where, they think it's going to be Sound of Music, and they come in and they're young college kids, and the teenagers aren't really listening to them, and they're kind of thinking from this college, I love curiosity and learning, and the kids were like, this topic kind of sucks. And you could see the student teacher's heart breaking for a moment, and it's like, but you've just got to pivot. And I've had student teachers who have said like, oh, I thought they were more like me, because they're seeing that their generations are closer, but they're not like them, right? They're not college kids, they're high school kids. So yeah, they either shift and they are able to capture their attention, or I've had a couple walk away and say, this is too hard. I can't get them to want to learn, or I only want to teach the honors kids. And I was like, oh yeah, you're not going to last long. Yeah.
I think there's a real culture disconnect. You have kids, or I call them kids, or college graduates that come from, neighboring states, for example. They're from very suburban areas or very white areas, not put a fine point on it. And they come into the urban areas, they come to these schools that are pretty rough schools. And if you don't know the culture, and if you're not familiar with it, if you don't know how to maneuver or circumvent problems, you're going to find yourself in a world of real problems. And there was like a couple of times, it's happened more than once. I'm going to say it. It's so general to me at this point. Like there's one teacher that she literally got punched in the face. It's a violent thing. And in the school that I was at, it wasn't necessarily a violent school, but it was, and every school, doesn't matter how violent or non-violent it is, there are always going to be fights that break out. Mm-hmm. And like, I could tell you as a union man, like I would always tell teachers, do not, under any circumstances, get in between of a fight. There's protocols, right? And you got to be
that
smarter.
How the teacher got hit? They were breaking up a fight?
She was trying to break up the fight, and the student decked her in the face and knocked her out.
I thought you were saying like the student just like wanted to hit her out the gate.
There were other cases where the student attacked the teacher. And one of them was a personal friend of mine, and it was actually on the news and everything. And she got decked. I think it might have even made national news. She got decked, and she hit the floor. I think she either hit the floor or she got punched and she fell down on her chair or something like that. But she's sitting there holding her hand, her face, and she's such a such a sweet person. And why would somebody, and then later on she came out, I think in the news, and she was like, "Yeah, I forgive the student and whatever." But she must have got a big payout from the district, man, because yeah, I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. We're not that close, I guess.
Yeah.
Point is sometimes the teaching profession is hard enough with the adversity that we deal with kids who checked out or kids who they say cruel things or just don't care. And like you said, but then there's the violent piece. And sometimes you can't walk away from that fast enough because there's some teachers, when you've crossed that line, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you have to have a certain weirdness about you to want to be around teenagers. Like, teenagers are weird, man, and they're hard to hang out with.
Yeah, they are.
And I definitely have worked in different districts, and I'm white, and I go into different ethnicities of students. And when I first get there, I get the who are you?
Yeah.
And so I just have to keep being me and kill them with kindness, and do it every time. And I love watching the hard one crack.
Yeah.
But I also do a lot of work where there's choice in what I'm teaching, and I figure out who they are and what they need. So the difference, when I had the student teacher, she was teaching a book, Ready Player One, which is a cool book, but there was some wording in there that was difficult for all of the students to access, right? So our gen ed kids were having a really hard time, and she wanted them reading a whole bunch of chapters at night and coming in and having these collegiate discussions. It's not happening. You're going to have to read some of the book out loud with them in class, right? When I'm teaching different students that I don't know, I went into Salinas, California, I had a lot of Latina girls wearing all of these huge eyelashes. So I figured out they're taking out their makeup like it's a TikTok day in the middle of class. And I was like, oh, we're not going to be doing this.
Yeah.
But I didn't make it a power struggle. I didn't say hey, put all your stuff away. I did. I said, hey, you're beautiful already. Let's work on your mind. However, I created a unit of study where we scanned our hygiene products and our food, and we wrote argumentative essays to companies about taking chemicals out that were dangerous, because I was like, I've got to hook these kids, and I know what they're into. Makeup, talkies, what, you got to learn your kids. But I had a district that was allowing me to create my own curriculum because I know what I'm doing, right? So I think that there's that too.
Yeah, but see, we're talking about teachers who are pretty green, pretty wet behind the ears, and they're just trying to survive. So they're not going to be creating anything. They're not going to be creative about anything because they're just trying to keep their head above water. Let me ask you this though, because we can beat that dead horse, but talk about if you can about the burnout effect. What does that look like for teachers, and how do they know when they're feeling, and what are some of the signs that they're burning out? And then I'll give you my take after you give yours.
I think sometimes it's kind of silly, but the way we dress, you're in suit and tie right now. When my year is going a little bit rough, I'll be wearing jeans 3-4 times that week. Honestly, I start to, in my dress and my attire, I'm not doing that well. I haven't gone to the gym, or maybe I'm trying to get to the gym and my hair isn't that great. So it's weird, but I think our physical bodies can tell a lot right away if we're feeling burnt out. I would say another key of burnout this is a fine line, because sometimes in a whole staff meeting, someone is trying to educate. They're saying, hey, we did this 5 years ago. It didn't really work. Da, da, da. But there's another person who's complaining a lot. Right? Or they're kind of checked out already. Maybe they're shopping online and they're not paying attention at all. But so someone who's always checked out, not really in the conversation, even when we break in a whole staff meeting and we're supposed to do something together, sometimes that teacher who leans far away, and I don't know, whatever you guys think, whatever. But the teacher who's crying on the way to their car, and I've been some of this too. I've cried on the way to my car. And I had a teacher stop me. And I think actually I wanted to cry all day. And then I finally was letting it out as I headed toward my car, and she stopped to say hi to me. And I was like, oh man, I was allowing myself to let the tears out. Right. So we had a conversation because I was having a hard time with a couple, boys in my class that were driving me crazy, because the parents were not being supportive. So that was huge too. Like if you're reaching out to parents and they're not listening, they're not communicating, they're not helping, or your admin is not supportive or saying it's your fault, but they're not helping you solve it. Like we want you to stay. Like if we're going to blame it on you, we're blaming it on ourselves because we should be helping you figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, for me, burnout it takes on a lot of different forms. When I'm noticing that certain teachers are shooting from the hip and they're not prepared as well, they still have that same language objective on for the last 2 weeks. They haven't changed it. Their lesson plans are very sloppy, and they're still like 10 minutes after class. I'm like, are we not going to do any more? It's like, oh, well, they feel like they just don't have the energy to put in the time to have a well prepared lesson, or the kids are just doing busy work, or they're doing puzzles or something like non-educational stuff. I'm like, I've seen this, and I've had these conversations with teachers. I'm like, look, I mean, not for nothing, I'm not your boss, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I can see that you're haven't been quite yourself. And before a principal or somebody walks in here and reams you because you don't have your board up to date, and you're 2 weeks behind on your curriculum.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man, like get with the program. I'm only because you'd rather hear it from me than the principal. Come on. So like, to me, those are some of the signs that somebody's burning out. Like maybe there's something going on in their personal. Like I found out like in one case with somebody that were going through a divorce, and then he got kicked out, and he was just having a lot of personal problems, and it was affecting his job. It was affecting what he was doing. And I'm like, bro, come on, man, like get with the program. If you need help, I can sit here with you. I'll lesson plan with you, man. Let's get you right, get you on track.
I think don't
leave yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one that you're saying. Now I'm thinking of more signs like their door is closed right until like that bell, because they're really not wanting students to come in, right? Like the door is closed and they don't have it open. They're not welcoming at the front. So it wastes like 5 or 7 minutes because their door opens at the bell, so that they're teaching less, right? I think the objectives on the board, if they're 3 weeks old or whatever, I've seen that a lot. That's a huge one for me, where I'm like, oh, we have seen that for 3 weeks. What's going on over here? Obviously not hitting the curriculum deadlines. They're weeks behind, or they're still doing the reading of the passage, but they didn't hit the writing at all. Because sometimes I wonder, like, maybe they're more confident teaching reading, but not writing. And so they're dodging a part of that curriculum too. But I think that what you're saying is huge, is that do we ask like what's going on outside of school? Because I have found that some of these people have like surgeries going on. Some of them have an illness in their family. There's other things that are pulling their attention away and draining them. Or it could be stuff at school that's draining them as well.
It could be both. It could be a combination, but whatever the case may be, like a lot of times when you have a perfect storm, that's what sets the stage for these teachers to exit, because they're like, I gotta restart. I gotta restart this machine here. My life is a complete chaos. It's a complete mess.
Yeah.
My job is just if I can't do it, I'm under pressure. The principal's on my ass. The kids are not responding. I'm way behind on the curriculum. Like all this stuff is happening at once. They're just overwhelmed, and a lot of times they'll just check out.
Yeah.
Like the one teacher I was telling you before, she just left, man. She just couldn't deal with it.
I've seen like power struggles with students as well, or teachers who don't understand this group of students. So they're having a hard time relating to them because they're still teaching the way they used to 10 years ago, instead of like, these brains are different, right? We are teaching them differently. So there's not that shift. I've seen some students be cruel to teachers, like start rumors and it's been about male teachers, like this guy's creepy or he looked at me weird. And I had that happen to a teacher a few years ago, and he was gone for 2 months and then came back later. I had a teacher before was a rumor, oh, he hit me or whatever. And so that, and if it's true, okay. But when it's not true, that is so damaging.
As a building rep for many years in the union, I've come across a lot of situations like that with men teachers, especially. I fortunately, knock on wood, have never had anything like that happen. But that's because I'm so keen on the contract and I'm so keen on what the rules are that I never leave myself vulnerable. It's like I tell, especially male teachers, I'm like, listen to me. This is just have a man-to-man talk here. Seriously, here's what you got to do to avoid any stuff like that. And it's real basic stuff, you know. If you don't leave yourself in a situation where prying eyes could be like, oh, suspicious of you, then you won't have to worry about those things because you're never in those positions to be ever under scrutiny like that. So I think that's a big mistake that men make is they put themselves in situations like that. I'll give you a really good example. Okay. Perfect example. This happened a couple of weeks ago at my school. There was, of all things, a lockdown drill. I think it was an actual lockdown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was an actual lockdown, right? Now, because I'm working with third grade, I'm going to give you a little context here.
Oh, yeah, third grade in a lockdown. That's so different.
I was not with my third graders at the time. I was on planning, right? So I was in my room planning, and one of my middle school students comes in, right? And we have a rapport, and she was telling me about this boy that she likes, and and she wanted my advice, because I guess, I don't know, she doesn't have a dad at home or something like that. And so we're talking, and all of a sudden this lockdown happened, right? And one of the ladies from the office comes through, and she says, we're in lockdown. You got to close the door. I was like, you are not locking this door. You are not locking me in here with this girl unless you're going to stay in here with me. She's like, what? I'm like, did you hear what I just said?
Did you
hear what I just said? You're not locking that door. You're not locking me in here with this kid unless you're going to be in here with me.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like I had 20 heads. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said that clearly. So either you leave that door open or you stay in this room with me.
Mm.
She left the door open. She left the door open.
Yeah. She's circling anyway. So circle her back to her class or back to the main
office.
Well,
I got to report this to the office. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But you are not locking me in here with this girl.
Yeah. The minute I have 2 kids left in my classroom, I'm already edging to the door and I have it open. I'm like, all right, guys, let's do this out here.
This is just basic. This is just basic stuff. Do not leave yourself in a situation. Now, I love this kid is a great kid. This kid is like a daughter to me, but don't get it twisted, man. Kids can turn on you for any little thing. And I'm just not going to put myself in a situation that has nothing personal. Just wasn't going to do it.
I had a counselor one year ask me to drive a girl home. And I was like, no,
big no.
I can't drive her home. And she was like, no, please. And I was like, you're a counselor. Why are you asking this of me? That's not even right to ask me that,
Yeah.
So being able to understand that you have rights to say no. But I think that that's also hard because new teachers are in a very vulnerable situation. They don't want to say no to their employers. They're trying to take everything on. I'll run this club. I'll do this. But being assured that nope, not going to do that. Nope.
Not going to happen. So this is what I mean. Sometimes if people are under pressure, I've worked with men who were enormous pressure. We're not just talking about losing your job, man. You're talking about going to prison. Okay. Because of accusations and there's all this stuff being floated around about you and these kids. You could have avoided a lot of that stuff, man. You could have avoided a lot of it if you just followed the rules.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I think men don't want to deal with that, or teachers in general, not just men nowadays, women too. Women are getting busted left and right for this kind of stuff, inappropriate stuff. So look, just there was maybe this is not related, or maybe it is, but there was one time I think I heard somebody say I don't understand why priests become pedophiles. And I'm like, I don't think that priests become pedophiles. I think the pedophiles become priests.
Yeah, I think so.
And so that's why I don't think teachers become pedophiles. I think there might be teachers who are pedophiles that become teachers. So it's don't put that shade on me. I've been playing by the rules for 20 something years, and my record is spotless. So it's like, I get it. I get it why men are weary about it, and they're weird about it. But I'm not going to push a guy if he doesn't feel like he's going to be good at it.
Well, and it gets tricky. Like a few years ago, a lot of my girl students would come up and ask for a hug after lunch and hi. And then like everyone is like non-gendered now. And a lot of young women are dating everyone. It's just more so the girls are like exploring with everyone now. And I had a moment of thinking like, should I still be hugging my students? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't.
It was interesting. I was a little nervous. I was like, should I be, or should I not be, or should I still be myself? But yeah, I did have a conversation with myself about it. I wasn't sure if I should. This is
the trickiest part about being a third grade teacher. That like little kids like to hug, and like it took me a minute to get used to, because remember, I'm come from middle school where you're like, nobody comes near her.
Middle school girls are always trying to.
Not me, anyway. Maybe it's because I just have that aura, like, I don't even do that guy. He's mean. But like the kids, the little ones, they hug everybody. They're just loving little kids, man. And so like sometimes they catch me by surprise, and like I'll walk into the room, like I walked into this room. I came into like one of the other teachers' room, and they all like just mobbed me. Like there's this mob. There was like a mob of like 10 kids came all around me. I'm like, okay, kids, all right. I miss you too. We're gonna see each other in about 2 hours. Relax. It's like, but it's like for me, it's like it's sweet. Like and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I to be like, you're gonna wait for me, be the Grinch or something? Nah.
Yeah, so I think we have to still be operating as ourselves, right? Like every day I tell my students, I love you. I'll see you later. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you guys. And at first, like when I first meet students, they're like, what? But I don't say it the first day, but like maybe after the first week, I start saying
it. Come on, man.
But they ask me like, why are you saying that? And I'm like, because I do. I have love for all of you. And then they start to just get used to it. And I'm like, that's who I am. Like, I don't say it to one kid alone in a room. No, but to my whole class. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's really beautiful that they're mobbing you with love, because it shows a lot that they miss you. But how adorable that you're like, I'll see you.
It's very adorable. It's extremely adorable. And it's like, I was talking to one of my male teacher friends, right? And this is like early in the school year, right? Because I'm trying to like get used to this stuff. He's like, well, whatever you do, Mr. Torres, they're gonna give you little gifts, like little toys or whatever. Accept it, because if you don't, you'll break their little hearts.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know what he was talking about until like they started giving me like toys and their Pokemon cards. It's like, Mr. Torres here, and then they draw like little figures on. Like this one little girl gave me this. It was actually like on a sticky pad, like one of these little sticky pads. She drew her family on it. She drew her mom, her dad, and her little brother, and like her uncle and whatever, her aunt, her grandma, and like the whole family was on this one little notepad, and she gave it to me. She's like, Torres, I mean, this is my family. Aww. I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm like, like it hits you right here, man. It's like, wow.
And then you start putting it all up next to your desk. You got to show them that you still have it. At the end of the year, like the last day after they leave, I throw a lot of that stuff away. I have some pictures that still the kids are in. My former students are in college now, and I still have a few drawings from some of them. Yeah. But like the little toys, I kind of like.
I keep them. I keep them all. I have them all. I have them like a little box on my desk. I just put all the little toys they give me. Like they gave me all kinds of little stuff, man. Like little birds.
I keep them for the year, and then
I just put them in the little box.
When you're talking about like families, I think that that's another reason that there's like teacher burnout. Like I definitely have sat in some meetings with like teachers and families, and we're talking about a student and their behavior, and it turns into a lot of teachers helping parents learn how to parent or be parents. And so a lot of it comes down to like, I would hear veteran teachers in these conversations, because we'd have every teacher, their English, their math, their social studies teachers, what have you, and we'd have these communal meetings. and we're talking about like burnout and stuff, like some of the teachers would start off by saying like, well, your kid hasn't turned in like 27 assignments. Have you checked Aries? But then it would get deeper as far as like when your child goes to bed at night, like, do they have dinner with you or where do they have dinner? And then where do they do their homework? Or when they go to bed, is there technology in their bedroom? And so we're giving clues and tips to parents as far as like, hey, parent this kid, right?
Be a parent.
But, I've had conversations with parents where the student has said, F you, F this class, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to the parent, and sometimes the parents are like, well, I see where my kid is coming from, or what are you going to do? What am I going to do? And I'm thinking, well, I mean, I say out loud, like, well, the kid's driving, so take their car keys, take their cell phone. Like, but it's funny when we're having to tell the parent how to parent. And I think that when you have a student like I've had, I don't take it personal because I know that other stuff is going on with that kid. But I when we're talking about burnout, if a student is saying like, F you, F this class, or they've thrown a desk, or they've done some crazy stuff in your classroom, or they've like, yelled or said things to a teacher, sometimes a teacher can become scared because the students are, in high school and they're bigger and larger kids. But then when you involve parents and admin and nothing really happens to the student, or they are told like, oh, like there's excuses for the student. If the student is big enough to go into a classroom and say, F this and F that, I feel like that the student should have to come back and apologize to the whole class because you've just created that trauma for the whole class.